I was going to record this. I'm going to record the show. All right. Welcome to Sunday night, November 16th. Today's the 16th, I think. Quantum study session. We are in between a couple levels inside a 1 minute range. So right now we can see the blue and purples here. Potential 3-bar setup here if this breaks over, but it's still in a range. The 5 minutes flattening out. Looks like this 192 is going to be acting as some sort of decent resistance. But before I would enter a play, I'd want to see a clean break and a hold above below 63.25 for a 1 minute push. The 5 minute, now I was going to go over here, this 5 minute, and I do this a lot during power hour, especially when it's in rangy chop, is if I want to see a down move, I would wait until it breaks, first of all, at 163, and then I want to see if this can start holding below 160 to pull that bottom action line, that bottom line, to pull that down, to give us a potential push all the way down back to around 100 maybe. But again, would I take that trade all the way to 100? No, I wouldn't. I'd just play it to scalp it. But at the moment, it is still ranging. We have our two levels, one on below, one on top. I don't have a whole lot of room down. I don't have a lot of room up where it's currently at, right? We're right in between. So when I say I don't like to trade in between levels, this is what I mean. We're slap dab in the middle. You're going to get caught in between. There's no real direction at the moment. If you zoom out on the 5 minute, right, we slightly broke the downtrend over here, 167. So theoretically, with the uptrend, this continues to hold over 165, 167 if we're using the cloud. This is where I use the cloud sporadically, not all the time. We could get a pump if it breaks that 192.50, but it needs to break that 192.50. Until then, we're going to hover here. And this is where we need patience, all right? So as I was explaining earlier, with the secret menu item on Quantum, we had a retracement on this big purple candle from the open. Pulled down 50 points first before it decided to start pulling up, and there's your action lines kind of giving you that curl guidance, right? So you could have gotten in on that blue candle. Use this as your stop. Been a 20-point stop. Would have been big, but it did give you a push to about 115, which would have been that center point. And that's where I would have probably taken, if I had a runner, getting out of there, and it did continue. And this is where we're at right now. Just stuck in between the levels. All right. I didn't realize you guys could hear the music. But I listen to everything. I listen to all sorts of music, from reggaeton to metal to dance, techno, old school, new school, everything. Hip hop, you know, very little mumble rap. Very little mumble rap. You caught some of the gold trade? Good shit. My thoughts on gold at the moment, yeah, it just resisted. I actually was eyeballing the resistance of this level up here, 107. Kept resisting, did a little push up. Then now you're curling down, but look where it's reacting. This is where the cloud comes into play sometimes, where you're in the middle of nowhere. I don't play cloud plays, but you can see right down here where it jumped. It jumped right at the bottom of the green, around 490. Very risky to try to scalp that, in my personal opinion, but it hit 490. It did shoot up a good 60 ticks, which is really good. But again, very risky because there's no levels, no nothing. You're just going based off a potential jump on the trend, because there are times we'll rip right through it. So this is where you be cautious, right? A lot of people ask me about the clouds. How do I look at the clouds? How do I play the clouds? Personally, I barely look at them unless I'm already in a play. Like, I don't use them to give me guidance pre-play, right? If I see a setup around my levels, around Saucebox, around Orb, around somewhere where I'm willing to take it, I'm not looking at my cloud at all. First thing I'm looking is how much room do I have from here to here. Next thing I'm going to look is what's my risk. Then after that, once I begin everything looks good, I have room, I have risk, I begin my entry, and then I look, okay, so I have room to go from here to here. Okay, so there's a potential resistance point if it comes close, right? And usually when I take a look at this, if the trend is not too tight, I have room for my points regardless. Because from now, right now, we're looking at the cloud right here, that midpoint to this level. Let's just say there was a level down here at 90. That's plenty of room. That's 70 ticks. That's plenty of room if there was a level below to catch a potential push. And then you have your downtrend of the cloud right there, where there could be some resistance, right? That's kind of how I gauge and how I use it, right? 5 minute on NQ, this is how I look at it on NQ, right? I look at the 5 minute. On the 1 minute, it just broke one, right? It would need to break the second one below. It has room all the way down to 140 here on the 5 minute. Same kind of example, right? If it breaks 163.25, I don't have a level. It's all the way down here. So what's the next area I would be looking at for potential bounce? Right there, 140. It's pulling really hard below it. So let's see if this breaks this level here, this 163. It's going to retest, and what you want to see it hold, or it'll just completely go to test that 140 area. Right? If it just goes, it goes. I don't chase. I don't FOMO. I let it run. I can miss a play. It's okay. But right now we're seeing a break out of the range. We're seeing a break of the level. We want to see it hold below, and then you want to see it continue if it can hold below. But this is right now. It's trying to pull itself back in. 5 seconds. All right, there's the break. Now you want to see it hold below. Now the way I would play this is I would enter around here, and my stop loss would be either 167 or up here at 179. Depends on how I'm feeling or my sizing. I want to see this continue down. If this is going to be a solid break, my 5 minute needs to hold below 160. So it's not looking horrible. It's not that bad of a risk. Let's see if we can get a continued push down to that 140. So if you got in at this retest, you'd be up right now 7 points, 8 points. There's your 9, there's your 10. Boom, right there. Right? You see how quick it is? It's very quick. Your risk was right there. That's how you play these level range break plays, right? I'm very patient with how I play these and how I enter these, right? I wait for the break. I wait for the retest. I wait to see if it holds. I look at my risk, right? I look at whether I want it to be here or up here, and then I take my play, put my stops, take my TPs, let my runner run. This pull up, if I was trailing close, this pull up would have taken out my runner. I'd be perfectly fine with the play still. That's 10 points. One out of many setups that you can find throughout many of the sessions. I go break even. I start trailing after second TP is hit. So during Asia, if there's no volatility, if each candle's moving about 5-ish points, I go break even after 5 because each candle's going 5. If there's volatility and the candles are moving about 7 plus or 10 points, right? This is where you guys can use ATR if you want. I go break even after 10 points, just like I do during New York session. I don't go break even. I don't start trailing until my main TP, which is 10 points. 10 points is always my main TP. Now, the way that I do it, look, there goes the break of 140 right now. And you want to see this now, 5 minute, right? Here's your 5 minute purple. You want to see this start holding below 155. If you're going to get a break and continuation push, it needs to start holding below this 140 to break that second level. And then we could see a push, potential push, even further down. But look at that go, right? That was a solid, super low risk play, right? Entry was not this candle, this candle. The retest 61, you had a 6-point stop loss on this, 6-point stop loss on this. And that was a nice, would I have caught the whole move? Probably not. But that doesn't matter, right? I would have had my move. I would have had my room. Boom. If you are braver than me, right? You have bigger cojones than me. You can hold the play longer than me. Good for you. You'd be rolling really, really well right now. Really, really good. 6-point risk play, and you would have been up about 20 points right now. 25 points was the complete move down. Now this might pull up to retest that 50 area because it might retest this 5 minute level, but if this 5 minute level is strong, it might not make it all the way up. There it goes right now. Okay. It's going to retest it. Needs to hold below that 55. All right, there it goes. It heard me. It's like, all right, Javi, we'll do what you say. There's that retest right here. It's got to hold below that. Still got 3 minutes. This is still very bullish. Remember, there's the uptrend. There was your scalping opportunity, and that's it. I'd be out. I would not be holding anything on that pull up. I would, if I was holding a runner, that definitely would have taken my runner out. And now we just wait to see if this holds below 55 or 50. I would ideally want it to hold below 50. The further down it can push, the better that level will be, the stronger that level will be. All right. So gold is also dumping hard. Like gold, dumping really hard. Nice resistance on that 107. Nice pull down off of that. All right, you have that first sell signal that got retraced, got challenged. This whole area got challenged once, and it did hold below. Then made your push down. Looks like it's going to want to try to push back up here. I would have liked it if it got closer to the 181. But again, when these stack levels are strong, there's a stack level down here. When these stack levels are strong, right, it's attached to a big-ass blue candle, it might not make it all the way down. I don't like to enter in the middle. I would love it to kind of get closer to this here if it did, but right now it's pulling up and it's okay if it does. All right, look at that rejection off the 155, right? Nice strong rejection, pulled all the way back down. That could be a pretty decent level hold. We could see that push a little further down to retest that level below. And this is how I read power hour. This is like literally what I'm saying. It has to hold below. I want to see it break and hold below. I always wait for the retest. And sometimes I miss plays. I miss them because they just go, and it's okay. I'm like, if it just goes, right? You'll hear me say, I didn't get an entry on that. It didn't, didn't present it for me. You're half awake, Sam. But I love it. This is why, like a lot of guys, that love to backtest and stuff. Backtesting is great to kind of get an idea of what the setups look like, but forward testing is the best because you get to see it happen over and over and over again. Like I've done so many of these sessions. I've done so many videos. I've done so much like live reading, and I see it time and time and time again, right? And again, it's not 100%. There's never a strategy that's going to be 100%. Like I always say, like we always say this, if anyone claims to have 100% win rate strat, turn around and run because they're after your money. They don't care about your win rate. They don't care about your success, right? I do this because I care about your success. Logan does the same thing he does because he cares about your success. Max, Llama, we all do this because we care about your success. We're not just here pushing shit, right? We're not just here trying to make money for whatever reason. Well, no. I know my shit works because I made a living off of it for months with the zero income, nothing. I started coaching in April. From October 9th till April this year, I had no income at all but payouts. I still get payouts every freaking week, every day. Got like really nice payouts from Alpha, from FFF, and from FN the last couple weeks. I'm like not even keeping count of my TPT payouts because those are obviously daily, but I move on from those really fast. So obviously I'm also keeping it on the down low because I'm learning really fast. The more attention you get, the more people come, they come after you. They come asking you for stuff, and I'm a nice guy, but I can't let people walk over me. So it's like one of these weird little things. Okay, so here's another little thing. Here's where I get cautious, right? We caught that play down. Am I going to be looking for a continuation play here? Probably not. Here's why. I've said this a couple of times. Could it go? Yes, because the 5 minute is stronger, right? But if I start seeing this trying to curl up and my 5 minutes pointing down, they're not in agreement. I tend to just be extra cautious. Like if I'm in a runner, I'll let my runner go. But I'm not going to enter a trade in the middle here, right? When the move was already the rejection of 55. Like I'm not going to enter a trade in between here at this point, right? This is the FOMO feeling that you sometimes we get. Oh, it could keep going. It could keep going. It could, but it could also come back up, right? And it could come back up and test that level, break it, and then hold the uptrend, and then it could go the other way. So this is where you want to be cautious here. What's that, Fuzi? It took a second to load up. Look at that continuation. So how am I seeing my targets? My targets are the same. I go for the same TPs, Trader Mike. I don't have, right? Some people use the levels. I don't personally like to use the levels as TPs. I like to use the levels of potential resistance or support zones if I'm in a trade, right? If I'm in a short and it's approaching that 194, I'm going to start trading a little closer. But I'm not going to use that 194 as a TP because there's no guarantee it's going to hit it. If it's a strong level, it's going to bounce close to it it might not hit it, right? If there's momentum and there's volume coming in, obviously like New York, it might just melt through it and might not care about it. But that's just something I do. Like I do my same routine hits, right? 10 points is always my main TP. I do 5 and 10. And that's not something I keep secret. That's just what I do routine over and over and over again. I do the 5 for risk reduction. I do the 5 to kind of ease my anxiety. The way I used to do it back in the day was a little different, but that for me keeps my stress levels from trading and my anxiety kind of down. So I'm just like, I don't even care if I lose at that point. Even I'm already in a trade where I'm okay losing, but once I hit the 5, it feels even better, right? So for me, it's just like it's how do I explain this? Like I want to keep it fun, right? For me, trading has become fun because I don't care if I lose. I don't care if I lose. I'm gonna lose. I've lost plays, but I know I can easily make it back. I know I can come back, bring it back green if I want. If not, if I take a strike 3, I'm done with the account. Oh well. The next day, I'm not even gonna see that as red. So if I did end red, because that's the thing. Sometimes I don't take 3 strikes in a row. So for me, again, TPs for me are routine. I don't change it. I don't go for, oh, I'm going to go for 20 points today. I'm going to go for 30 points today. I go for the same routine. It could be different for any of you guys. Your Wi-Fi is lagging, Kathy. I'm recording this one today. So I am recording this one. So you'll be able to rewatch this on YouTube later or tomorrow. Okay. So hopefully that answered your question, Trade Mike, how I see my targets, because I don't really have targets. I do the same routine. That's me, right? Everyone's a little different. So you can kind of mix and match how you like, right? If you have targets, if you have a strat that gives you a target, you can go for that if you want. But I'm not a fan of making a green trade go red. Once I hit 10, I hit 10 and I take it. And that's how I kind of made my living when I was getting payouts, just doing the same routine over and over and over again. And that's what I look for with Quantum, right? Quantum sets me those same patterns, those same setups that we look for over and over and over again, right? The range plays, right? What we just saw here. Sorry, my nose is a little runny, guys. I've been like on and off sick here and there, right? You had the thin one here initially, and then you have the thicker one when this one kind of give you here. There's your little break of the blue. There's your main break. There's your retest, and there's your go. So these are like one setup, right? You had the same setup over here. All right, you had that. Here's your breaking candle of the purple, right? You could play these like little tiny ones. If the blue breaks the purple, that's a failed, bearish move. Stop loss will be right below, and you can catch a little 3-bar play up. These are those little 1-2 taps where they just go back and forth, and you have them everywhere, right? Oh, look at that, they're everywhere. So that's sometimes that's like the most basic of the setups to learn when you can see these. When you could just also, on occasion, play just the failed bullish or bearish moves. All right, wait for the break. There's your break. Broke back in, secondary break. Kind of gave you a push down, did a little bit of a retest, and then gave you a continuation push once it also failed the bullish move here. Happened again. There's your break. There's your retest. There's your move. And you can just keep doing this over and over and over again, right? This is the most basic of the Quantum setups. That you don't require the A++ setup, right? This is like one of the easiest kind of strats to follow, right? The stop loss is always the candle that breaks, right? That's your candle break. Here's your retest. Here's your stop loss right there, right? You don't have to risk the whole dang range. You don't. If the breaking candle holds, you're going to get a move. But this is the easiest one to master. Once you can master this, then you can move on, right, to the level reactions. What are the level reactions? Right up here, we saw a beautiful level reaction on this 5-minute. Right, you have your curling, right? This one initially started it. This was from the pump up, and then you saw your range. Now you have a setup where the short looked better because you had more room down than up. You had a 5-minute level above, you had a 1-minute level below, and if it broke that 1-minute level, you had more room down than up. So at this point, obviously, I would be looking more for a potential push down than up. Not meaning if it did break above this, it wouldn't be a potential push up, but breaking a 5-minute level requires patience. There's your 5-minute level. All right, sell signal did not trigger. Cross happened a little over one candle, right? Your one candle would have been here, happened a little bit in front, so it would not trigger that signal. Gave you a level, but this level is still attached to that purple candle. Remember that, right? Just because it didn't happen within one candle does not mean it's not attached. This candle has not been broken. This level is attached to this candle. It's attached to it. It did not trigger it unless you adjust your settings, and you could make it trigger, but I wouldn't, because within one candle is still the ideal. All right, look what we got happening here, right? That previous, right? This is where this extra stuff for quantum, right? The structure stuff, right? I use these candles as structure points. Look where it bounced once. Look where it bounced twice. Oh, look, it finally broke it a little bit. Did a little push. Here's your like retest of that breaking candle, right? And there's your continue push down. Another push. There's your continuation push down. Okay. So, you know, I don't look for anything but my colored candles as guiding points, right? When I'm reading power hour levels, if I'm saying, oh, it needs to break here, it needs to do this, I'm usually either reading my candles or I'm reading my levels, and that's it, right? I'm not really reading the cloud until I'm already in a play. The cloud is my extra guidance, right? Look at that. It's just repeats over and over and over again, right? But again, I want you guys to master the basic, right? Master the basic things. Then start reading the next thing, right? Play just the range breaks. Play just the breaks of the purples or the blues, which are, you know, also the range plays. They're the same thing, right? They're the same thing. Then you can master the A++ setups around level reactions. Then we are working on an update. We're still testing it on the logic for the stack levels. We're going to try to see if we could do some stack level signals of some sort, which would be interesting. We're still in the testing phase. There's nothing, you know, fully set in stone yet, but it will be interesting to see how it goes. All right, 2 small wins, start of the week. Let's go, MTuttle. And you've been studying. I saw that you were back testing and you've been studying, and that's what we want to do. We want to back test and we want to foretest. That's what's going to help get that motion going, where you're going to be like, okay, I'm in. I know where my stop losses are going to be, right? That's the keys. Know where your stop losses are going to be. Know your risk. Know where you have room, and just test, go, enter, right? Be okay losing. Don't try to catch a home run every single trade, because it's not going to happen. Do they appear every once in a while? Yes, but don't chase home runs every single trade. All right. Whew. Let me make sure I didn't. Okay. Is it better to look for $1 or a tick goal, or should I just see? Brian, that's a great question, because I don't even pay attention to the dollar amount. I never look at how much I made. Right, when I'm doing, like, when I'm recording, I have to have my P&L up, and I kind of half cover it up because I don't like to look at it. I go by plays, and then I go by strikes. So the way I do it, right, is if I'm trading an account, I take 2 wins, and then I take my strike 1, I'm gonna go look at where I'm at. That's where I tend to look at it. If I like where I'm at, I might stop. If not, you'll be like, you know, I could keep going for strike 2. I'll keep going until I get strike 2. And if I get strike 2 immediately, I'm obviously not going to look at it. And I'm like, all right, strike 3. Just be patient. But you know, that's how I do it. It's very good. It's a very good idea to kind of eliminate that dollar thing, right? Because a lot of us are like, I got to make this, I got to make that, and then we change the dollar amount. I don't look at it. I look at my points, right? I go for 5-10, 5-10, 5-10. Then runners. The runner collects, and then by the time I take a peek after I take it now, I'm like, oh dang, I'm already up 200-300. I'm happy with that. Let's move on to the next one. That's how I do it, right? It's going to be different for everybody. I've seen multiple time frames used on your table that shows trend and last. Yeah. So what is the best to use? So Trader Mike, that's a great question too, because I don't use that anymore, right? I use that when I was using a single screen, when I had my S23 Ultra, and it was just one chart on my screen, where I would just put one chart. I would have that little table, so I could kind of gauge what happened in the higher time frame that I would look at, which would be the 1 and the 5, right? If I had my 1 minute chart up, I'd want to see what the last candle was on the 5, and if it was a cross up or a cross down, and the trend. So I would have to go flip back and forth, right? If you have 2 screens up, you do not need that table. You do not need it, because you're looking at what's happening, right? What you could do, what some people do, is just take a gander at the higher time frame, right? Just put the 15-minute in there, or the 10-minute, whichever one you want to use. I don't look at anything above the 5, because I'm just scalping. Remember, I'm just scalping these 5, 10, 10 plus sometimes, but It's usually 10 runner, and I get good plays off of them. But I'm just scalping those over, so I don't need to look at anything higher if I'm not trading on anything higher. I look for the same routine setups. But the table itself is meant if you're trading on a single screen. If you're trading on if you're using gold on the 1 and the 2, you don't really need to look at the table because you have your 1 and the 2 chart up. If you're on a single screen, I would have that little table up just to gauge what the 2 minute's doing. Hopefully that makes sense. Hopefully that clears that up a little bit. But it's always what you always want to see is the previous time frame and then the next time frame. So if you have premium, right, and if you're trading on the 1 minute, you'd want to see the 30-second and the 5 minute. And same for the gold. You know, if you're trading on the 2 minute, you'd want to see the 1 minute and the 5 minute, or the 1 minute. I've never traded gold below the 1 minute, so I wouldn't even look at anything below it. But it's because I have traded NQ with the 5 and the 1 and the 30. You know, I might look at the 30-second just to kind of see what it's doing. All right. Ticks because it's, yep, you gotta say I'm ticks. Ooh, gold is tanking. Gold rejected that. That was a clean move from gold. Gold breaks that 81. Breaks that 81, breaks 77. Ooh, she has some room. NQ is popping right now. NQ actually just did a little break of that into that 5 minute level. Retracing. Oh, there's a purple candle up here at 72. That might get retraced right here. That one got retraced. Let's take a look. Let me put a little alert around there. See if it triggers it. There's that secret menu again. Blue on the 5. It wants to cross up. Look at that. Oh, look at that. There it is. There's the retracement. Right, we got to watch it live. There's your retracement. Formation of your cup too. Could see a little handle. We'll see if we get a break continuation push or we just get a strong momentum push. There it is. That's a full retracement. That's a very bullish move. Now this needs to break over 84. Then it needs to break that 92.50 until it can do that. Gold jumped right off the 81.10. Clean jump, clean advanced read on gold right there. Look at that. Clean jump off 81. That's a damn. That was a freaking violent jump off 81.4. Almost 100 tick move on that. One and done. Let's go. Let's go, Schwab. Look at that, right? All right, for whoever asked about the targets, right, you could use, I used to back in the day, right, with a runner. Back in the day, I used to like just hit first TP there, right? But with a runner, or you know, if you have a couple runners, you could let one go here and then see if it continues to push. This was back in the day. I used to use these center points of unretraced purple candles as targets way back. But you have to be cautious because you don't know how far it could potentially pull down before it starts to flip up. And this is why I say I don't like to use these 5 minutes as levels, because as you can see, right, it never came close. At 113, it was about 20 points shy. It did not hit it. This is a strong area right now. You had your 5 minute blue here as well. Beautiful push up. Wow, look at that violent push up. Here's your 5 minute. Now it's going to form a level at 57 if it can hold above here, or it's going to come back down and kind of bounce around maybe here if it can't hold above that 92. Let's go, Schwab. Let's go, Woozy. Look at you guys. All right. So when the cross happens on blue or purple, that's the sign to get in if it's not close to the lines. So Zed, so the regular A++ setup is those signals, the candle close after that signal triggers, right? You could have gotten in on the candle close at 79, but your risk would have been huge, obviously 50-point risk, right? From 79.80. It did give you a 30-point push right now, right? But I wouldn't personally have taken this unless it had other confluences. So this is what that would have been risky, especially that close to that 5 minute level. You know, there was no guarantee it was going to push violently that far up, but it did give you that play, right? That's your A++ setup. I like him to be within close to 11. right? That's, oops. What did I just do? I went to Dow Jones. Thank you. All right. So I like to have some sort of guidance to give me that signal, right? The other thing you want to be cautious of is the giant candles. Obviously, this is range after power hour, right? There's no volume here. You're downtrending here. You have a 5-minute level above. You just broke this trend here. You had this range here, right? Right. This was during power hour, right? You had that break retest, that literally that what we went over, break retest, that push down, the retest, right? That retest was a buy signal. Would I take this? No, probably not, because it just broke outside the range, right? Bigger candle compared to the last one, about double the size. So I know it's going to get a little bit of a retest, which it did. And then it just broke it, retest, continued down, and then finally it ranged right here. At this particular play, though, I had a soft box here, right, which gave me confluence for this buy signal that did occur, but I got in down here at 70. And then once I saw this, I would play the retest of this as long as this kept holding. Obviously, it kept bouncing back and forth, but it kept holding that 70 as well. So I had I had confluences for this area to hold. I took it twice, I think, during Friday. And then I let it go, and then I just kept watching, and then obviously it exploded up after power hour closed. But the buy signals and the sell signals are the confirmation of the reactions that I'm waiting for, right? This is why I started going into explanation of where the best entries are, because the best entries are the reactions of the levels, right? There's your curl up, there's your hard shift curl down, right? This candle right here would have locked this curl down. This is where your entry you would want to enter on the candle after that cross down, after this hook, right? This sharp turn. It's either the bowl, right? You're either going to see that bowling, like that bowl shape, like that, either if it's obviously here above, you want to see that kind of nice bowl shape. Hopefully that makes sense. Or if I see this sharp turn right here, that candle that closes below, this is the candle that has to hold that to make the move hopefully continue for that level to hold. So here your stop, right? Your entry would be this candle. Your stop would be either this candle here or above that level, right? Whichever you're willing to risk. All right, and then it gave you that push down. It gave you the level. There's your sell signal. This is your confirmation of what you were looking for, right? You got in on this candle, your stop above, your confirmation of that level locking in, and you got your purple candle for your move down, right? That's the best low risk entry. If you missed it, the other entry would be the candle itself, right? The cross is slightly above on the wick, so it's riskier, right? Always talk about watch where these crosses happen, because if it's above a purple candle, it's riskier, because if the level does get retested, it could break that, the bearish candle. If it's below a blue, it could break the bullish candle, and one of two things. It's either going to go the other way, or it's going to start ranging. Those are the two things that's going to happen. This one just locked in. It resisted that level, gave you a little stacked 1 minute level up top, and then gave you your move down. Okay, it gave you, right, this one right here, right? Why wouldn't I have taken this one? What do we just go over, right? Look at the size of the candle. Look how big it is. Obviously, it did reject here, but look how big that candle is. It's going to get retraced. It got retraced, right? This blue candle here, the cross happened in front, so the move was already in progress. Resisted up at this level. All right, here's one that was in the middle of nowhere, right? Wasn't close to the level. I would have preferred up there. If you got in on the candle closure, you would have got stopped out a couple times until it did go. Right, but it did go. Here's a nice one. Nah, that's one kind of happened in front, not fully in. You want it to be in the body or behind. It's happened in front. It give you a little retest, give you a little push up, right? You had your purple candle here for a little bit of guidance for that resistance point that you saw, but then what happened when it broke the other way, right? This is where you guys can start marking these lines, right? Oh, look, it broke the blue candle. What happened? It moved down. So once you start, right, again, it's a lot of information. Don't try to master all of it at once. That's why I said earlier, and I say this and I always repeat it over and over again. Master each individual setup one at a time. Don't try to see it all at once when you're picking this up at first, right? Just look at the ranges at first. After you see the ranges, look at the level reactions with your curls and everything, right? Look at the 5 minute huff. Okay, this is another good example I want to go over, right? Oh, this is curling down on the 1 minute here. Yes, it is. But look at your 5 minute. It's still holding above this 215, right? it would need to break below it. So below this 215 right here, this 217 on the one, if it's going to pull it down. Until then, this is still looking pretty bullish. Like it could just keep pushing up. It could, right? It could also come back down a little bit. But again, I'm not looking at a long or continuation, right? The move already happened. The move from here already happened. Gave you a beautiful push. That was actually, wow. 80. That was a 50-point move. So that risk to reward was 1-1 on that monster. But again, would I play that? No. Right, here's a curling. Here's that bowling shape I'm seeing. Right, if I were to test this, my stop would be above here or above that 50, but I wouldn't be fully sold on it pushing because of the way the 5-minute looks. The 5-minute looks, the lines are still pretty extended. They're pretty up there. I wouldn't be looking for a play here. Personally, could it? Yes, it could. But again, right, I'm picky with my setups. I'm a little bit pickier. So I'll be patient and I'll wait. Just because it just gave you a really strong bullish push, right? It just broke that purple candle over here. It could come back to retest it. So there is room to come back down some. But I personally don't see it like, I just don't see it. I don't see it kind of giving a whole push. But it could. It absolutely could. Again, I'm not 100% on the reading. Like, I'm pretty up there. But if I don't like it, I don't take it. Like, if I just don't feel confident about it, I don't take it. So that's simple. Whew, all right. How do I get the quantum trader candles to look like yours? What do you mean, Palm City? What do your candles look like? They're not blue and purple? Or are you talking about the colors, the gray and the green? Because they should all by default be the same color. When you first plug it in, all your candles should be. Make sure you're on the correct NQ or MGC. I know on some on micro gold or gold, if you're on like a Forex ticker, it won't populate it correctly. So make sure you're using, if you're using MGC, you're using a COMEX or futures or Pepperstone. If you're using Forex, Pepperstone tends to be one that works, that does populate the candles and everything. Okay, let me go through. Yeah, gold has been wild. Gold has been very wild. So let me see right here, right? Let's see if this is gonna do what I think it's gonna do, which is it's gonna keep going up. I mean, it's got 2 levels here. Could touch 250 maybe before, but the way this 5 minutes looking, like I said, it's holding up a little bit. Doesn't mean it can't pull down. I just don't see it pulling down that much personally. All right. It should be popping. Yeah, it did. And right now, look, and this is all this is doing is retesting the trend break, right? This is where the cloud comes in handy, right? If you guys are holding, if you're not scalping this is where the cloud comes in handy, right? This was your previous uptrend right here. This blue line. Look where it's resisting. Look where these wicks are. It's retesting that downtrend. You see that first level on the red line now. So this is what it's retesting. It needs to keep holding up below, and then it needs to break that 8110. So it's retesting, it's confirming if it's gonna like keep holding below it and then continue push up, or if it's just gonna reclaim it and then keep ranging. All right, the 1 minute's trying to form a level here. And if this fails, right, if this breaks back below 220, then we might see a good push coming in. The 5 minute would be a failed 3-bar here. But if this 5 minute 3-bar is up and it breaks through 50, it's got room. It's got a lot of room up. This 5 minute 3-bar is up. This is where you combine candlestick structure. All right. Boom. So it seems like you're having a good time, Lucy. Okay. So when you cross happens on blue or purple, that's the sign to get. So hopefully that made sense, right? When the cross happens within, you want it to happen in the middle or behind. If it happens in front, that signal's not going to trigger until after, because the cross is happening in front, so the move's already in progress usually. Or I wait for a retest of the level. All right. Nice job, guys. Okay, Javi, love you. Go to sleep. All right, Pashevita. Good night. Love you too, brother. Making my loss back. I entered a trade with while playing. Oh, yeah. Boozy. Don't trade distracted. Right? I don't trade distracted. I took my trades. I don't take trades while I'm teaching because I cannot trade distracted. I will mess up. If you're trading at a job, you will mess up. If you're not fully, on your, on your guard and paying attention, you will mess up, right? It's important if unless you're like a swing trader or you're looking for a long-term setup on a higher time frame, then you can, okay, these levels are holding. You need it to break below 220 if it's going to keep pushing down. Like, again, I wouldn't take it just because of what I see on the 5, but it doesn't mean it can't go. And that gave you a nice push down. But it could still just keep pushing up. There's a, yeah, if this breaks over 40, 41, let's say 41. This could pump up a little bit on this 5-minute 3-bar potential. If it breaks under 220, then we might see it push a little further down. Do you look at FEG for any of your confluences? No, Mike, I don't. I don't trade FEGs. I use Llama's fibs every once in a while, but I usually mainly use those around my sauce boxes. I do know people that do use FEGs with Quantum, and they say that they get pretty good signals on them. So, like I said, you can use what you like, brother. You can make this your own. The whatever confluences that you love to look at, test it, just see, Gold coming back up. Oh my god, bro, I hopped off and now I need to lock in so I can stop playing Fortnite and trading. I haven't played a video game in like 10 months now. It's crazy. Like, I haven't touched Fortnite. I used to play Fortnite. with my son and some of my friends, and I haven't played it in like 10 plus months. Yeah, the big purple and blue, as the previous issues. But yep. Okay, are we gonna range all Asia open? Maybe. We got 8 o'clock coming in about 17 minutes. Right, usually what I see, right? There's the first purple in the 1 minute. After a move, you see range, right? That's the typical pattern. You have a move, range. A little bit of a move, big range. Little move, range. Huge move, range. So this is what I'm expecting. All right. Is there a PDF that explains? Yes, there is, Trader Mike. And Tuttle's on it. There is very well made one by our boy Sam. Sam put it together very beautifully, and it's awesome. This is why when Sam offered to do this, I was excited for him because I know it was going to help him because everything that he learned from it, everything that we explain here, he put it together. So it's coming from someone like you who did not build this strategy, right? He learned it in the same way you guys are in here learning it. And he is killing it. And he put that together beautifully. He understood exactly what we explained over and over and over again. And I know that helps him because when I started coaching, all of a sudden my trading got 1,000 times better. Because I was more like the more explaining, and I'm like going through it over and over and over again. And I was just like, dang, was I catching bangers like this all the time before? I don't even remember, but I felt like after I started coaching, that my personal trading got better, right? And this is a part of that educational stuff that just kind of makes you excel, like Sam, what Sam's doing when he's like constantly answering all these questions. If you guys start doing the same thing, you guys will start seeing your growth as well. It's kind of a weird little effect. Max told me about this too. Like, he's like, dude, when you start teaching, your trading is gonna like hit another level. And it did. I was like, well, I already do this. Like, how could it hit another level? It just does. This is weird, funny, cool thing. If your trading view is 10 minutes behind Palm City, you need the data. So if you trade with the prop firm, you can log into your prop to get that data, right? But you have to be on Tradeovate or Ninja Trader. And what you would do on TV is you go down here to where it says trade. You would click that. Whoops. So you would make sure it's highlighted. I actually clicked on it, but you make sure it's highlighted, right? You see Tradeovate. Mine's already logged in. So you would go in here and you would log in. to your prop. Mine's already logged in, so I already have the data coming in on it. So that's what you want to do. If you trade with a prop, you do not need to buy data. It comes automatically, but if your prop is on NinjaTrader or Tradovate. There's others in there too that I think you can log into, but I've only used Tradovate or NinjaTrader. So hopefully that'll help. But if you don't, you can do you could do some data. You can buy some data, which is pretty cheap. It's not that expensive. Yo, my 1 minute no popped up on NQ. Same manual. Okay, good. I don't have that triangle indication. The triangle thing is not something you should look at if you're trading on the higher time frame. The triangles are meant for the 30-second chart, right? So if you're not seeing it, it's because you don't have premium. You would probably see it on the higher time frames, but this is something that it collects from the previous time frames, and it is meant to be used to trade off the 15 and 30-second charts, which was wild to do. It is very high pace, can be low risk if you have really good ATM settings, but you have to be very focused on trading that 15 and 30-second chart if you're going to do that. I might make a video on it going, I know I've said this before, it's just not that many people trade off the 15 and 30-second and how to use it. But it is like, again, you're going to lose a lot, but you're going to snipe a lot of really good plays. So it's like super low risk because of how tight the stop losses are. But when you catch those plays, because usually you catch them at the beginning of where those bigger plays are happening, you can find some really good runners. And that was just a very high-paced kind of action. It was a fun way to trade for a while, but you had to be like hyper-focused. If you were not hyper-focused, you would get burned, and you would need a good ATM setting for it. All right. What's the difference between the dotted lines and the solid lines? So the solid lines are your higher time frame levels, right? If you're trading on gold, it would be your 2-minute levels, right? So if you zoom in here, right, look where that 2-minute level formed, right at those crosses. That's where your buy signal came in, right there. That's the level that held right here. That's where that is. And then your 1-minute level is right here, right? Same thing. That's where your cross happened. There's your 1-minute level. On NQ, same exact thing. The 1-minute level always stays. So the 1-minute level is that 1 minute right here. Boom, right? This one that held over here that formed Friday at 12:46 p.m., right? There it is. It's a failed buy signal, right? Once it broke, the level that flipped is now bearish level and held beautifully right here, right? That's what those are. The solid lines are your higher time frame levels, which over here would be your 5-minute. And there it is right there. This one formed 10:35 a.m. on Tuesday the 13th. Look at that. Tuesday the 13th, that level formed. And we are coming back to it now. Okay? And that's a point of resistance currently. These up here, if I'm not mistaken, were untraced purple candles, I think. If I remember right, but I have to go back and look. I don't remember. I put some alerts around them, but I'm not sure if that's what they were. They were on the 2-minute. No. I got one up here. Yeah, there's one up here. That one wasn't retraced because I was going over this with a couple people, right? If you buy weeklies, right, eventually this one's going to be retraced. Don't know why I have this one here. I can delete that one. I think that was for something else. We have that one here, and we have this one up here. These two have not been retraced. That one was. All right, let me reset the chart so we're back in the middle. So those are what those solid and the dash lines are, right? Be cautious with your settings. We are trying to figure out if we can do a toggle of some sort to make it a little easier. But if you're flipping back and forth between gold and NQ, make sure you have that time frame, that right here. Let me show you guys that time frame to SR adjusted properly. For NQ, this should be the 5-minute. For gold, this should be the 2-minute. Okay, and there's a reason for that. So for gold, the 2-minute levels, the 2-minute stacked, get respected and get reacted just like the 5-minute levels on NQ would, right? Because I don't like to look at setups or plays unless they give me the same reaction. The 5-minute levels on gold do not hold as well as the 2 minutes. It's a weird thing. But when I was back testing gold and I was forward testing gold, I kept noticing the 5 minutes kept getting ripped through. Like it didn't give a damn. Once the 1 minute level would break through a 5 minute, and it wouldn't care about it at all. Then I started messing with other time frames, and then the 2 minute was giving me those stack level reactions, just like I saw with the 1 and the 5 on NQ, and it was respecting these levels just like we see like right there. So that's the reason for those. All right. Yep, NQ's rangy. Slow rangy up. Slow ranging up, right? If the 5 minute continues to hold below this 50, it's going to start potentially curling down, but you want to see it start closing closer to 220, right? If it wants to really go, it needs to start closing below 220. The current moment, right, it tried to. What did it hit over here? It hit 19 and pushed itself back up. Still looking pretty bullish, right? Look at the 1 minute. The 1 minute uptrend has been holding pretty well so far. And that first level is 224. And then the 5 minute uptrend's at 190. So it would have room on the 5 minute to go if it does break 220. All right. 220 would be because of the line right here. Right now it's at 218.50. So when I was looking at this before, this line, I want to see it get pulled down. Right? Remember, you got to think about how these levels are formed and how the action lines themselves give us the guidance, right? That bowling shape, what we're looking for that turn down, right? So I want to see this start getting pulled, right? They're still a little bit far apart, but if this continues to hold below these two levels up here or below 250, you'll start seeing this flatten out more, like where we're seeing right now, right? And the more it closes down, that's that curl down that we're looking for to give us that push, that continuation push, right? At the moment, it's not ready yet, right? It's just kind of trying to, but it's still kind of angled up. So it would need to close below 220 so it can pull down this line. Right now, this line is sitting at 218. And then if you're looking at the green cloud on the 1 minute, right now it's at 224. So that's kind of what I'm looking at. Right, the longer it stays below, the better. But right now, you also have this blue candle here that's about to break. Right, there's your bullish candle that formed. It needs to break. It needs to close below it. It needs to break and close below it to be a failed bullish move. Obviously, it's rejecting off that 39.75. It's respecting this level very much. Like it's really holding it down right now. 5 minute needs to continue to pull down some. There it goes. Now to purple. Breaking right back in. And you can do this. If it stays below, gotta push down. If it breaks back in, we're testing this whole thing all over again. Remember, it did break these previous bearish candles too here, so it's still in a bullishy stance, but it doesn't mean it can't go down some. All right, there we go. Let's see if it can start holding. Now this line down here is at 223.25. You want to see it start pulling below. There's your bull on the 5 minute. This needs to close down here, right, to maintain this. This is not ready yet. This could still get pushed up. You can kind of see it getting pushed up right now. So this is where patience comes into play. So this is where I'm like saying it's not ready, because it's not giving me that curl down just yet. It's still trying, but it needs to keep closing below. Now we're getting a new blue candle, right? Retested that previous range break right here, that previous bearish break, and now you can move that there. Respecting the uptrend as well, respecting that uptrend on the 1 minute. So uptrend is still holding very, very strong. It's got room both ways. If it can break 250, it's got a hell of a lot of room. If it breaks down below here, it's got a heck of a lot of room down too. But this is kind of just hovering right here in this range right now. What time is it? Okay, so it's waiting for 8 o'clock. It's waiting for 8 o'clock. This is what it's doing. All right. Session opens at 19. Yeah, went to 20. So I use FEG's 2 confirmation. There you go, Uzi. Up 650 for the night. Let's go, Tim Bryant. So I have to have a subscription on TradingView to have live chart feed for my quantum. For any kind of data for the TradingView, right? To get live data, it's not just quantum. It's just TradingView in general. You need to have data. So if you're trading with the prop provides the data. If you are trading with a prop that uses TradingView or NinjaTrader, you can automatically log in. But to have live data with any kind of charting on TradingView, you don't need it, with any kind of charting period. So it's not just because of quantum, it's just the way that TradingView is built. If you copy and paste what you'll be. All right. Gold keeps teasing. Yeah, gold's messing. Gold's in between. Gold's hovering. Gold's hovering between these levels. It's like slap dab in the middle. Like nothing's super solid. It's trying to make another level down. They can hold below the 87, preferably like 87.5. It's going to lock in right here. There it is. Let's see if it can keep going. Then it needs to break that 81.10. There it goes. Look at that. Right, there's your level right there, 87.90. So there's that level on gold that just formed at 87.90. Needs to stay below 87.90, potentially test 81.10. Again, needs to break that 81.10. Gold keeps teasing. We're going to have a good move at session open. Yeah, I think we are too. We got a few more minutes, a minute and a half left. So it's a tight range. So my guess is if it breaks up, we go. If it breaks below, we go. We're going to see what it does here. The triangle under candles. What is he talking about? Yeah, the triangles that you see here. These triangles. These are confirmation. These are confirmation. They're a trigger. We call them triggers for the seconds time frame. They're not. They don't do anything on the minute, 2 minute, 3 minute, 4 minute, 5 minute. They're for the 15 and 30 seconds. These little triangles that you see here. So you guys can ignore those if you're trading on the 1 and higher. Okay, they only show up in the 5 minute. Yeah, so they only show up on the higher time frames for you, Drop Dead, because I mean they're going to show up in the higher time frame. If the sequence occurs in any of the time frames, they're going to show up. It's a sequence that has to occur, but they don't play out on the higher time frames at all, like at all. Blah, blah, blah. Do you have to turn it off in the 1 minute? All right, awesome, Pump City. Let's test the hook. Short of the gold. Jane, how many points do you normally risk each trade? I like to risk 15 or less, Jane. 15 or less. So depending on how much I'm risking, also I adjust my contract size. Like if it's higher, if it's on the higher end, I size smaller. If it's on the lower end, I tend to go closer to full size. Yeah, I have them. Never really much attention to them. Yeah, the triangles, yeah, okay. Hopefully I cleared that up for some of y'all. All right, let's see what's going to happen here. Here's the open. All right, looks like he wants to push down some. 5 minutes curling down. It needs to break and hold below here. Gold pushing up. Gold needs to break that resistance at 87.90. It looks like it's doing it. And Q still hanging out inside the range. Looks like it was not much of a push. Let's see. Let me look at my DOM. My DOM at 229. It's not really reacting much around here. Oh, there it goes. It's speeding up now. And my DOM's speeding up some here as it approaches that 225 area. Oh yeah, it's getting really fast here. All right, something's about to happen. It's either going to close down here and break and go, or it's going to bounce right back up and keep testing the range. Went to retest the range again. So 220, this 225, 227 area was a reaction zone. I saw my Dom going nuts a little bit, and now it's going nuts up here at 232. Gave you a hard spike down. So it's definitely some reaction around here, the 32, 33 area. Back down to 25. Spiking up. Oh, okay, no, it's getting fast here. Here we go. This is going to break here. Needs to break, retest, hold. See, so there's the close. There's your retest. Needs to hold below it. So 234. If it pops back above 234, we're going to retest this high side. See. 5 minute needs to close. Needs to stay below 228. Popping back in. So market opens are always risky. Popping back in. I'm going to retest that range. This 5 minute needs to close below here. So this 5 minute is still developing. This needs to close back down here if it wants to keep going. If not, it's going to retest the whole range. And I want to see this 5 minute close below 220, 225. Still not looking bad. The Dom's going crazy around here at 225. Not crazy, it speeds up slightly. There you go. There's 5 points. Keep going. Keep going. There you go. There you go. There we go. Who caught that? I got a little bit on it. I got a little bit on it. All right. Got a little bit of that. Already got trailed out. That was nice, quick, easy 10 points. It could keep going. I don't care. I got one runner running if it wants to keep going. But there we go. Right there. There was your risk. There was your play. And if it keeps going, it keeps going. Oh. Look at that. Oh. There you go. There you go. Look at that. Oh, still going. Still going. The runner's running. This is, like I said, this is what I do. The runner's running. I got trailed out right there, my runner. Beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. All right. There you go. And that's how I scalp. Yeah. Caught that one with I don't know if any of y'all caught that too, but there it is. There was your risk was above 234. There was your couple entry points. That was like 8-point risk. Beautiful drop. That's how I get my entries, y'all. And my risk factors and my stop losses, everything right there. Look at that. All right. You see how that you saw how that sell signal triggered after the cross happened in front. It needs to stay below 227 if it's going to hold this level. Let's see how much push it wants to give. Meanwhile, look at that buy signal on gold. All right, gold pumping up, broke that previous level, held, did the whole break and retest, did everything, the exact same thing this did, but on the opposite end. Right, but this one did it with the level instead of the range. And that's what I do on repeat over and over and over again. All right. Does it have a difference to have plus to premium on TradingView? I don't think a whole lot. Like essentials is like the only thing. If you're trading gold, I would definitely have essentials for the 2-minute chart. But like the main thing that premium does for me is gives me like, you know, I could put multiple charts on one screen. That's what it does for me. Yeah, on gold. On gold CMC market, it does not show buy and sell signal. Do I need to be on the same gold as yours? So Zed, yeah, you're gonna have to be on MGC or you're gonna have to be on the gold, which one is it? Let's see which one you're saying CMC. So yeah, CMC is one that does not show. So you would have to be on MGC, right? See, no purple candles, just the levels. You'd have to be on MGC or let me see which you can go around and see which one. Right, this one says gold cash. I don't think this one will show it either though. Some of them I know, some of these stickers don't. Yeah, that one doesn't either. The one that we use is MGC. This is the one that we use right here, MGC. All right. So yeah, that gold that he uses, Sam, the Zed, we won't show the colored candles. He'd have to use MGC or another. Look at you, Sam. Look at you. Getting more payouts. Let's go, brother. Close the chart down here to watch everyone eat. There we go. There you go, Roxanne. What does the ATM look like for your runner? I don't use ATMs, Mike. I don't use them at all. I do everything manually. I know some guys have shared some of their ATM settings in here that you could go back and look for. I personally don't use them though. Hey, that's okay, Sam. You're doing good, brother. You're being disciplined, man. You didn't get in based on your emotions. So right now, this has to hold below that 227 if it wants to lock in the level. Again, this is where you're cautious of market open because I see this, right? We caught that little move down. Market open could decide to just now start flipping the other way. But it needs to hold below. It's retesting this whole little area. Again, it needs to hold below 227 to lock in that level up here. Did it halfway put on the sauce box? I don't know, Zerjo, right now. I don't have them on, so I couldn't look at the sauce box right now. So I turned them, I completely hide them while I'm doing these sessions because we just want to see quantum, right? I use the sauce box as my personal added confluence. It has nothing to do with quantum per se, right? That's just my added personal confluence. So, yeah. You were down 600, now down 235. You're down, Sergio? No. All right, lock it in, man. Risk was 234 because that was the wick height on the candle break. Yep, Nick Riv, you got it. So here, I'll show you. All right, this is how I play these. All right, you had your purple, you had your blue, you have the levels above. This was the candle that broke. This was the candle I used as my stop. You know, if you wanted to risk more, right, you could have had it above here, right? But I prefer that candle itself. That's just my preference, but there you go. Look at that rejection off the 227 again. All right, this is, again, I don't double dip, but there was another entry point to try to catch that again. It's the same risk, right? I just don't like to double dip personally, but it's there, right? And this is those resistance points, right? This is what I'm looking for. When I'm saying this needs to hold and close below here, this is what I'm looking for. I'm looking at my lines. Where's that level going to form? Right here. 228.75 is where it locked in, where it would lock in right here. This needs to hold below this if it wants to lock that level fully and then go down. If it breaks above it, right, this is the flip side. If it breaks above it, because we are seeing the 1 minute is pointing up. Now, if it breaks above this, the 228 and holds and then breaks 236, now that level will be flipped and it's going to give you a push up. Right, the uptrend is still holding, right? This is the other part, right? We'll look at the cloud, right? We caught that little dip. The uptrend is still pretty damn strong because it didn't fully touch down here at the 90. It bounced right at 206. 1 minute's pointing up, right? 1 minute was pointing up. 5 minute was pointing down. They weren't going the same direction. There's a nice little buy signal, break back into the range. You want to see this break and hold above that previous level here. Right, this 228, whatever it was here. If I zoom in, let me draw in the line, so I'm not just looking at it where it's going to be. Right here, right there, 229.25. and just pop back into the range. So now to come down, what's it got to do now, right? Now you can actually move this guy down here. It's got to break that and this. Less resistance down, more resistance up. Look at you, TP got on. Damn, bro. Let's go. Let's go, Zerdro. Way to go, man. That's the way to do it, right? That's how we control it. Other two are green, one is red. You can live with that. That's how I love to do it. Little 3Z up potential here. There's a 3Z up. Barely a push, right? This is where I use what I see up here, right? Do I like along here? Nope, I don't, because I have levels up here. Could it go? Yeah. But again, I don't take plays around this kind of stuff. I'm going to wait for all this to get broken. I want to see it come back and retest potentially. If it goes, it goes. Meanwhile, gold is still, gold hitting that 197.50 level. Nice 3-bar up. Look at that. Very nice 3-bar. Now it's breaking the opposite side. Needs to hold above here. Needs to break that level, hold above that. All right, there's that elimination of the level. Now it needs to break over 250.25 next. There's some resistance levels around there at 250. Look at that. See, when these line up with that, that's nice. That's awesome. That's awesome in total. Next one is up there around 262. So next one for me is around 341. That's so interesting. I'm gonna check out Bookmap one of these days. I've seen it so many times. I just never messed around with it yet. It looks so interesting. I love to dabble and take a look and back test things with other things. This rips through 250 though. She's gonna go. Yeah, I've been told that. M total. And my Dom goes crazy around here. Let's see if it rips through it. Boom. There's a little tap. That was the perfect tap. It hit 51.25. Pulled back. So you can see how it does the opposite. Now it needs to hold above here. This 5 minute needs to hold above that 35 to completely kill that 5 minute purple this bearish candle right here. It needs to hold above this 36, which just also lines up with that top of the blue line from that trend break from the opposite side. There's that push back down. All right. Usually we see a retest, and then we see if it holds and continues, or if we're going to get stuck in any range. All right, there's that tap. Needs to hold above it, or it's just going to go right back into a range. So far, bounce clean off of it. That was a nice clean bounce. Needs to break 50.25. See, these kind of taps, this is why I love these things. Look at that. All right, now it needs to hold above it. Still resistance. Still rejecting pretty good. It's cool that the Bookmap is, you know, what you're showing them total. It's like I have a level right where that Bookmap thing is. It's just super cool. Yeah, when I say Dom, it's it's this thing. I'll take a screenshot. That's the Dom. That is my Dom. That's when I say my Dom's going crazy. There you go. Another break, retest, go. Look at that. On repeat. Does it over and over and over again. You alright, Bronco man? Sigh. There have been some like decent moves here and there. Yeah, like any difficulties you guys experience, right? If you guys got into a trade and it didn't go your way, man, screenshot it, guys. That's how we learn. That's how I learned. That's how I eliminated so many different setups. Oh, you got taken out by one tick. No, I hate those. I hate those, man. That's happened to me a couple times. Even on Power Hour, it takes me out and then it goes. But you got to get over those quick. They happen. They will happen. No, I would not take this. That's a big candle. Doesn't mean like with gold is unique because gold right now it's testing that level here, but gold momentum pushes do tend to go, but usually the same pattern usually will apply. You want to wait for the retest. It's gonna potentially come up and retrace some of it, right? Because if you zoom out and you look, a lot of these purple candles get retraced, right? They get retraced. Same pattern, right? They get retraced. Look at that, retraced. Here, this one didn't get retraced until now. It hasn't got retraced yet. It kind of did over here a little bit. It peeked through. Right there. Oh yeah, it did. Look at that. It actually did. The center is right here at 081. That hit 081. It did. So that's just one of these things you got to be a little cautious of. Gold moves violently. Like if gold has a violent push, it tends to continue the violent push. No, don't Zuzi, don't tell the revenge trade. What the hell, bro? Yeah, so this gold, I wouldn't take that. You're seeing that bounce. You're seeing a little bit of a retracement there. This 2 minute needs to close below this 89, but it needs to break 87. So it's just getting like zoom out. Look at this. Look how tight gold is looking. Right? Where was it? Has it been ranging between here? So it's getting really tight. I don't like that. Yeah, Boozy's a menace. It's like straight up his first reply was just revenge trade. Don't man, don't revenge trade. It's okay to miss plays. It's okay to get stopped out. It's gonna happen, right? What's gonna help you is what you do on those shitty moments, how you grow from them, how you be like, you know what, it lost. It's cool that it did what I thought it was gonna do, but whatever. I'm gonna wait for the next one because the next one is gonna do the same thing if you catch the right play, right? And you're gonna lose plays, but the thing I always say this over and over and over again: learn to lose, right? Learning to lose is a part of the process. That's what's gonna help you guys grow. Like every time I go into my socials, I keep like scrolling through Instagram and I keep seeing the same thing being repeated that I keep saying is just like a part of the winning process is losing. Like you're gonna get better from losing and learning to lose. The tilt, the revenge trading breaks us, right? That breaks us. And that's because we go through that because we don't like to lose. The minute you can get over that, you will see consistency and growth. Trust me. That's what happened to me. I hated to lose. I told my story over and over and over again. I hated to lose. And I fucked up so many times because I hated to lose. Poor Pula Max. Hell no. Yeah, Luke, that's what I'm telling you, man. The Z Flip, that's why I love. Right now, I'm playing my game on here, but this is why I love this phone because I could put my 2 charts on here and I never have to look at one chart ever again on my phone. And that was the one thing I hated about phone trading, is that I had to keep flipping. Sometimes I had the table up, but sometimes I would have to take a peek. Like, let me see what it's doing. And now I got this, and I have my 1 and my 2, or my 1 and my 5, and I'm like, oh, so amazing. I will never stop selling it because it feels like I'm playing a video game. I'm in my phone now. Like, it's so freaking awesome. I'm telling your story, Trader Mike. Oh, dude, it's everyone's story. We all start that way, brother. We all start that way. Like, I blew my very first payout was going to be a 14K payout. I blew it because I hated to lose, and I didn't want that account to be red. I lost 16,700 bucks on that account because I had the buffer and everything, and because I didn't want it to end red, I ended up blowing it. And this was during a time I needed the money. Like, I've told the story. And I hated myself for that forever. Like, I still be like, I'll every once in a while I'll remember like the feelings I had that day. I'm just like, God, I was such an idiot. Like, why did I do that? Why did I do that? But then I'm like, but look where I am now. Like, if I didn't go through that and I didn't learn from that, right? I don't think I'd be where I am now. But I had to get over that. I had to get over my shit because that was the thing that broke me. That was my breaking point. That was the thing that finally was like, what the hell am I doing? Why am I doing this? Why did I let that happen? Like, I could have stopped at a $500 loss. I could have stopped at a $1,500 loss, and I still would have had a payout. But instead, I ended up blowing it because I was too proud of myself and I wanted to not see a red day. That account was perfect. It had like 7, 8 days all green, and I wanted to keep that way. And, it's just this prideful, dumb thing that we do, right? And we know it's dumb, but we still do it. And it's not until you get sick of your own shit and you get sick of that moment that you're going to start noticing, real growth where you lose like sizing down is a big thing for me, right? I was trading 2 to 3 minis. Sizing down is a big thing because once I started losing on 5 micros, it didn't hurt me at all. I was like, oh, losing $100 or $80 or $60 is way better than when I was down $500, $700, $800 on one play. But it did suck though, because when you're winning, when you size down, same thing where I was trading 2 to 3 micros. So when I sized down, my winning plates, instead of being 2 to 300 or 500, they were only $50, $70, $80. But the losses were so much easier to handle that overrode not being like over greedy. Because with 50K accounts, I didn't need to be greedy. Like, everything that I made my money from were payout accounts. That's where I was really, really shining because that's what helped me stay consistent. Like, the accounts that help you make endless amount of money, right? And I hate to say this because I do love TPT, but if you're new, don't go to TPT because that ability to make an endless amount of money is going to kill you, because you're going to want to look at your chart every second of the day to nickel and dime every single moment that you can. That's going to lead you to revenge trading, losing, and then you're not going to want to lose, and blah blah blah, and all this nonsense, right? Tradeify, Alpha, that has like they have accounts that have the consistency rules. If you want to learn to be consistent, go for those accounts, right? The cap payouts. There's 0 point in making more than what you can take out. So if I could take out 2,000 on a 50K, right? You need a buffer of 2,100. Hit 400 for 10 days or 8 days or whatever. Just hit a goal, right? 200 for 10 days or 250 for 10 days, and then do another 200 every 10 days to finally get to that cap and get that first payout. And then after that, all you have to do is hit 200 again. And you can do that over and over and over again. You're consistent. Then you can start growing your stuff, right? So it's a little free chicken for you guys there. And then you take those payouts and you start buying more accounts and you start diversifying in different props. Yeah, it's worth the price, absolutely, Sam. But what I was going with is like, if you can't control over trading and you can't control stopping, those are the accounts that will hurt you in the long run. Like, I love TPT to death. Like, they're my favorite prop because of the same day payouts. Right, I get paid out daily. I love it. Like, I won't. But early on, I would have gotten burned. Like, they would have taken a lot of my money early on because of the way I was. And that was my crutch. I was playing with there was an account called the expert account. Like, I won't name the prop because we don't really, we're not in good standings with the owner. or Max isn't, so we don't really talk about them. But they had the expert account. I could make as much as I want. There was no cap, and I wanted a lot. And I was looking at the chart 24/7. I mean, I look at the chart a lot now, but nowhere near as much as I was looking at it back then. Nickel and diming every little second that I could. There you go, TP girl. I'm telling you, man. I'm telling you. A lot of people hate consistency rules. And if you're not profitable, they are the best accounts. Honestly, if you're not consistent, they are the best accounts. It helps you build that consistency. And then you can take those habits to those other accounts that don't have consistency, and then you can start taking advantage of it. Because then you're like, oh, now I can do what I want, right? I'm doing great with alpha. Like the advanced accounts, there's no consistency, no nothing, but I'm hitting my targets. I'm taking my payouts every 5 days. Same thing I was doing back in the day with the other accounts, where I was 250 was my target. 4 accounts, right? Like this is this, guys. I had 4 50K accounts. Once I had the buffer built up, 250 was my target. In a month and 2 weeks, I made almost $19,000 in payouts off 4 50K accounts. Like, it's, you don't need, to chase for the moon and the stars to get that kind of money. You just have to be consistent. You have to just be really good at hitting that same target over and over and over again. All right, y'all. I'm going to call it a night. It's 8:30. Thank you all for joining me. We got, some of you guys caught some beautiful plays. I don't know who joined me on that one quick little short for that 20-point rundown. We caught that. This is recorded, so Europe gang will be able to watch this later on. Right? Gave some free chicken in here too, so y'all can rewatch this later and kind of digest on what we went over. We saw some of the basic setups there, right? We didn't really go over the levels and things. We go over different things each time, but we go with what we see, right? I have zero bias when I'm coming in. Oh, it looks bullish, yeah, but I can see a potential play for some push down here and there. I take what I see. I look for my risk. I look for everything I need the setup to present itself, and I take it. Look at you, Sema. The pro. Let's go, brother. Let's go, man. You got to take out another $900. Let's fucking go, brother. I love this stuff, man. I love seeing you guys succeed, dude. You don't understand how good of a feeling it is when I see you guys doing what you need to be doing and growing and being consistent, man. Love it. Absolutely, Zed. And we do this every week, brother. Every week. I'm going to try to sneak in another one sometime this week if I can. I'm pretty busy this week, so I may not, which is why I made sure I recorded this one so you guys can kind of go over it. But I'm going to try to sneak in one more if I can. If I can't, definitely next week again. Sunday night, probably again. Yeah, right now it's just like tiny little chop ranges here and there. It's just going from one to another, right? It built another one right here, right? But now it's looks like it wants to break it and it wants to push a little down. There's your little break, and it could give that little pull down. Oh, and it's a 5-minute level as well. So let's see. It's just very tight, uptrending still. But how much of a move down it's going to give you, I don't know. Might not give you a whole lot. Might give you 10 points, but it's very tight, very tight. So I'd be cautious. All right. Absolutely, Palm City. And any of you, a lot of you, we got new guys and gals in here. Anybody has any questions, please feel free to ask in the chat, the quantum chat, right? I'm constantly in there. I'm always looking and reading. And if anyone has a question and I can answer it, I'll try, either myself or Sam, right? We try to help everybody out. So just because, we do the sessions once a week doesn't mean that we're not answering questions in there. So any losing plays, things like that, please share. Like, I love that everyone can learn together, right? So everyone have a wonderful night. Thank you for joining me tonight. I'll see y'all next week or sometime later this week. We'll see. Love y'all.